Well, before we get into the levels, a volatile month for crude. While relatively contained, I was trying to point to, we've seen some movement off the November high up around 93 to the lows this week around 75 as the Saudis push back on that Wall Street Journal report that OPEC was going to increase production. They said the cuts in place are going to remain. A bit of a roller coaster, simply put, for crude traders as a result.
Yeah, good morning, Ben. Thanks for the introduction. Excuse me. First, and foremost, crude oil just recently dropped the most it has in a single week since, I believe, April of this year.
Double-digit percentage decline.
Yes, yes, and partially in response to weakening Chinese demand due to, I believe, sharp increases in COVID infections in that country. Been along with overall monetary tightening by central banks. And this is even after the recent 2 million barrels per day cut in production by OPEC. So in response, I believe you have hedge funds and investors that are beginning to view crude in a more bearish outlook.
Well, as we look at this chart here, I just want to point out a bearish outlook, to say the least here. We did recently take out that September low, but I always look for follow-through. I always look for continuation for, well, in this instance, lower lows, lower highs, energy, participation, right, volume, follow-through, and talk to us, because we didn't really see any of that in terms of, was this one of those key levels you were watching, David, or is this near one of those levels we should be keeping an eye on?
Yes, Ben, in our work, the $75 level in crude has to be closed above on monthly charts. Like, as an example, November is about to close. We need to see a November close above $75. We need to see a December close above $75 in order to actually be bullish. And even I'll even go further to say that next week, the week of November 28th, in our work, is the on-time week for a bottom in crude oil. So that bottom may have already occurred this week, 1 week early. Now, very short term, we expect next week, the week of November 28th, for crude to trade back up at $81 to $82. It's very close to where we are. But it is critical for us to see that, because I do want to say longer term, if we start to break $75, a longer term outlook is that unless we can start to get above $102 to $103, in the first 6 months of next year, we believe that crude will probably next year in the first 6 months be down at $57 or lower.